Krishna, everyone. So we're back for another wonderful session of reading Bhagavatam, and you may have noticed that this isn't my wife.
No. Nope.
So this is a very wonderful and dear friend here with us. He's visiting from Alachua in New York, but New York is like his home field.
My heart's in New York. My body goes to Alachua once a month.
So this is Jai Giridhari Prabhu, and Jai Giridhari Prabhu, thank you so much for your wonderful association. Thank you for coming here. 26th Avenue, he was just telling me how the different outreach programs that he was doing here, yoga, Bhagavad Gita classes, and how people would just wander in. It's so amazing, you know?
It's a holy place.
It is a holy place.
True Tirtha, yeah.
So he was saying we're like, you know, nectar hunters because we're coming here every day, so we're getting the mercy. So we're going to read Bhagavatam. Jai Giridhari Prabhu, thank you again. We're going to read Bhagavatam. For all of you, we're going to pick up from the 13th chapter of the 4th canto, and this is the descendants of Dhruva Maharaj, and we'll start with text 6. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Prabhu, would you like to read text 6 and then let's see. Looks like there's read 6 and 7 and then the purport for 7.
Sure. And just the
translation.
Okay. The great sage Maitreya replied, "My dear Vidura, when Maharaj Dhruva departed for the forest, his son, Utkala, did not desire to accept the opulent throne of his father, which was meant for the ruler of all the lands of this planet. From his very birth, Utkala was fully satisfied and unattached to the world. He was equipoised, for he could see everything resting in the Supersoul, and the Supersoul present in everyone's heart." Purport. The symptoms and characteristics of Utkala, the son of Maharaj Dhruva, are those of a Maha Bhagavat. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita 6.30, Yo mam pasyati sarvatra sarvam cha maya pasyati. A highly advanced devotee sees the Supreme Personality of Godhead everywhere. And he also sees everything resting in the Supreme. It is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 9.4, Mayatatam idam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina. Lord Krishna is spread all over the universe. In his impersonal feature, everything is resting on him, but that does not mean that everything is he himself. A highly advanced Mahabhagavat devotee sees in this spirit. He sees the same Supersoul, Paramatma, existing within everyone's heart, regardless of discrimination, based on the different material forms of the living entities. He sees everyone as part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Mahabhagavat, who experiences the Supreme Godhead's presence everywhere, is never missing from the sight of the Supreme Lord, nor is the Supreme Lord ever lost from his sight. This is possible only when one is advanced in love of Godhead.
Reflections?
Oh, it's just flowing in. It is flowing in.
20 minutes is not enough time for this.
Oh no, it's too short. There's so many. This is the Tirtha of Srila Prabhupada. The story of Prabhupada. I'm so sorry. This city is so dirty. New York. It's so sorry. He says you cannot see the spiritual world. You're not seeing the spiritual world, he says to his disciple. You don't have that vision yet, but I'd like to show you. Bowery bums, everybody's intoxicated. The Mahabhagavat, such an aspiration. I was walking one time with His Holiness Radhanath Swami here in New York, and there was a gentleman who had a big cigar in his mouth. And we were with another quite popular, famous yoga teacher, actually. And this gentleman was walking by, and it was Maharaj, and it was this other yoga teacher, and this person was walking by, big cigar in their mouth, it's lit, it's not just a cigar in the mouth, it's lit. And he goes, he looks at Maharaj and he goes, Haribo! And then he keeps walking. And the yoga teacher goes, did he have a cigar in his mouth? And Maharaj says, it was so good. He walked a little bit, let that simmer, that statement. Another half block, no words are said, and then he says, you can see the cigar in his mouth, or you can see the Haribo in his mouth.
That's so nectar.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
Which is more important? Which do we choose to see?
Wow.
Or is that like the bumblebee or the fly?
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
do we choose to be? How do we direct our own consciousness?
Yeah.
Oh, that's powerful.
Yeah.
The Mahabhagavat sees Krishna in everyone and everyone in Krishna.
That's the vision.
It's amazing. Haribo!
Haribo!
I'll never forget that. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, I was somehow, and maybe it'll go more as we go along, but it was standing out to me because this is Utkala is Dhruva Maharaj's eldest son. He's the rightful heir to the throne. And we know, I think it's in the 5th canto, Priyavrata, the whole pastime of Priyavrata, I think it's 5th canto. And, but Utkala is not interested. He's self-satisfied, so he's not interested in ruling the whole world.
Yeah.
I mean, that's quite powerful in and of itself.
Yeah.
But I was also thinking, so he's not interested, and because of that, his renunciation means he's not going to take up that service. And so wherever that's going to lead, but then because of his nature, he's understood to be a Mahabhagavat because he's equipoised. He's not interested in getting involved with all of that kind of stuff. But as you were reading, I was thinking that's so interesting, and how diverse Vedic culture is, because we're just finishing the pastime of Dhruva Maharaj, who went to the Lord asking for an entire planet.
Yeah.
And he did govern over everything after Uttanapad left.
Yeah.
And he did it. And he's also a Mahabhagavat.
Yeah.
So it's like that diversity can, like, I remember many years ago, one senior devotee said, the essence of Krishna consciousness is that you're able to hold two apparently completely contradictory thoughts within your mind and consciousness at the same time and not be disturbed.
Wow.
Whereas that you might think, well, yeah, this is a Mahabhagavat, he renounced everything.
Right.
But yet, we just heard the pastime of Dhruva Maharaj, and he had serious material desires.
Yeah.
He went to the Lord, then he ruled, the universe on behalf of the Lord, and at the end, he went straight back to Godhead, And his mom came along.
His mom.
Come on, Mom.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, I'm not going if my mom's not coming, Where's Mom? So anyway, somehow that was coming up for me. I don't know. What do you? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah. I mean, that's I'm reminded of Journey Within.
Yeah.
Unity and Diversity, the last chapter. That sense of like, this is the highest thing, is actually to be able to see what he's seeing right there, to hold those opposites and understand that the Lord in the heart is guiding that propensity of somebody, but also the inspiration of their service towards the Lord. And it sounds like Utkala's, he's perfected there. And Dhruva was perfected through his as well.
Yeah. Yeah, you can be perfected either way.
Is there any cases where people flip-flop?
Well, that's why I brought up Priyavrata.
Yeah.
Because he was also realized he wasn't interested.
Yeah.
And he refused.
He had to do it.
And his dad said, no, you should do it. And then they got Lord Brahma. And Narada Muni said, you don't have to do it. His father wanted him to do it. Now, who was Priyavrata's father? Oh, Priyavrata. Wasn't it Uttanapad? Not Uttanapad. Uttanapad is Priyavrata's brother, so it must be Swayambhuvamanu.
So he says, you got to do it. And he says, I don't want to do this.
I'm not interested. I don't want to.
His guru says, no problem.
His guru says, don't do it.
Yeah.
You shouldn't do it. You're renounced. Just walk away. And we know Narada Muni,
The Parampara comes down. Brahma says,
so
actually...
Lord Brahma says, thank you, Narada, but actually, you should do it as an act of sacrifice.
Wow.
Similar, I guess, to, which we also recently read, Prithu Maharaj, that he became famous for not doing the 100th sacrifice.
Right.
And in this situation, Priyavrata is asked to do it as service to the Lord. And so he takes it on and he does it for some time, but then he also gets to the point where he realizes, okay, now it is time to renounce. So he does renounce after some time. Goes to the forest, but
This is following seems like your timeline. Your timeline. This is Jai Nitai's time. There's a lot of service, right? Rule the temple, do this, do that. Now go, and do different things. And what I'm hearing is just the essence of it is, am I following the instruction? Am I following the service?
Wow. Okay. That's good. Yeah.
Because that's where that's where the honeybee is. That's where the nectar goes, right? Because it sounds
following the service, following the order.
Yeah.
Yeah, because and I'm not remembering exactly what's going to happen with Ukala, but of course, just renouncing, giving everything up can sometimes be deemed as sense gratification. Also, can just be selfish. Like, I don't want to deal with all this, so let me just renounce. Or I guess like the instance with Maharaj Bharat, he renounced everything after having been great ruler, but because he didn't keep good association,
that's it.
He
That's
fell down.
And the association helps us understand the seva, actually. Right? Because Utkala could say, we don't know, I don't remember what happens with him either, but he could say, I'm not into this, and the Vaishnavas could say, actually, we need you.
Yeah.
Or you could say, I'm not into this, the Vaishnavas say, actually, that's appropriate for him. So then he can go forward. So it's also might be the order, but it's also the association of the Vaishnavas that helps to guide that.
Well, that's it. Guru, Sadhu,
Shastra. Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Okay, we're good for time. You're okay for time?
Yeah.
All right. Let's go on to...
we
that's the one you just read. So, verses 8 and 9. Okay. This looks like a whopper purport. Okay. So, by expansion of his knowledge of the Supreme Brahman, he had already attained liberation from the bondage of the body. This liberation is known as nirvana. He was situated in transcendental bliss, and he continued always in that blissful existence, which expanded more and more. This was possible for him by continual practice of bhakti yoga, which is compared to fire because it burns away all dirty material things. He was always situated in his constitutional position of self-realization, and he could not see anything else but the Supreme Lord and himself engaged in discharging devotional service. Wow. Okay, Srila Prabhupada's purport. These two verses explain the verse in Bhagavad Gita 18:54. Brahma bhuta prashanatma nashochati nakankshati samasarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labate param. One who is transcendentally situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman and becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires to have anything. He is equally disposed towards every living entity. In that state, he achieves pure devotional service unto me. This is also explained by Lord Chaitanya in his Shikshastik in the beginning of the verse. Cheto darpanam arjanam bhava mahadavagni nirvapanam shreya karaiva chandrika vataranam vidya vadu jivanam. The Bhakti Yoga system is the topmost yoga system, and in this system, the chanting of the holy name of the Lord is the foremost performance of devotional service. By chanting the holy name, one can attain the perfection of nirvana, or liberation from material existence, and so increase one's blissful life of spiritual existence as described by Lord Chaitanya, Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam. When one is situated in that position, he no longer has any interest in material opulence or even a royal throne and sovereignty over the whole planet. This situation is called Viraktir Anyatra Syat. It is the result of devotional service. Interesting. And let's see. Yeah, we have another paragraph for you to read, but just maybe a quick thought on this. My first thought, there's, again, so much you could say and discuss on these things, but somehow this stage of nirvana in general, we know that it's not something as bhaktas we aspire for.
Right.
It's kind of like almost like a neutral, it's like neutrality, So we're kind of like it's merging into,
Yeah.
But at the same time, I remember hearing it explained, and maybe you have some deeper insight, but nirvana, because van means forest and nir means out. It means out of the forest. So it also means like out of the material forest.
Yeah.
So out of the modes of material nature that one has transcended, which is similar. This verse, Manushanam Sahasreshu Kaschid Yatari Siddhi, out of many millions of people, only one aspires for perfection.
Yeah.
And out of those who achieve perfection, hardly one knows me in truth, which has always been like a mind-blowing statement, because it means that you can achieve perfection without achieving Krishna. Because there are different levels of perfection. Again, the Vedic culture is not just black and white.
Yeah, refined.
It's so refined, yeah. And so perfection or liberation means just to get liberated from the modes. But ultimately, to be engaged in devotional service eternally, and level of bhakti is we would say, the highest understanding.
Yeah, he says the topmost.
Yeah.
I want to see the Sanskrit on that. Where did he throw in the Bhakti Yoga?
Oh, we started over here.
Well, he says, this was possible for him by continual practice of Bhakti Yoga.
Yeah.
And I always like looking at the words, and it says, okay, so he ceased by mellow, by continuous practice of yoga. So it says yoga, yeah? Avyachine, continuous. It's like that word, continuous yoga. And I often think of, so fourth canto, Prabhupada's, he's just getting started, right?
In the movement, you mean? Or
in
his mission?
Yeah. So he's just getting going, and there's that strong desire. He's seeing the yoga that he's seeing in the West, and he's just saying, listen. Continuous practice of yoga. He says, let's cut that, and let's be real about what's actually happening here. This is how he actually got into trance. This is how he actually got into this. And so he adds that to it. And so it's, again, it could be, people get all fired up about how did he translate that, but who's dictating that for him?
Yeah.
Who's bringing that to life? And it's like, listen, this is the process, and we're in Kali Yuga. And he brings in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
That's right.
This is the thing. Yeah, this is the thing.
Nice. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that Bhakti Yoga is the chanting of Hare Krishna. He's making it relevant, practical, and applicable.
Applicable, right? Yeah. I'm in the
Perfect.
corporate world, and the corporate world's always, well, what are we gonna do here? Like how are you gonna put that into action?
Chase. That's really nice on the board. How are we gonna stick it in the
how can it be
smoke
implemented? How can it be implemented? Well, there he is. This is as corporate as it gets. Implemented through chanting the holy name.
Perfect. That's
so
amazing.
nice.
I love that. Oh, okay. Maybe I could read the last paragraph.
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the situation called Virakta Anyatasta, it's the result of devotional service. So that was when he let go of having great material opulence in the royal throne. The more one makes advancement in devotional service, the more one becomes detached from material opulence and material activity. This is the spiritual nature, full of bliss. This is also described in Bhagavad Gita 2:59, Param Dristva Nivartate. one ceases to take part in material enjoyment upon tasting superior blissful life in spiritual existence. By advancement in spiritual knowledge, which is considered to be like blazing fire, all material desires are burned to ashes. The perfection of mystic yoga is possible when one is continuously in connection with the Supreme Personality of Godhead by discharging devotional service. A devotee is always thinking of the Supreme Person at every step of his life. Every conditioned soul is full of the reactions of his past life, but all dirty things are immediately burned to ashes if one simply executes devotional service. This is described in the Narada Pancharatna.
Sarvo Padi Nirmuktam.
Yeah. Wow.
Tatparatvaina Nirmalam.
Very good. That's a pretty thick ending to that. Burning the material desires by touch and by being close to the Lord. Yeah, all dirty things are immediately burned to ashes.
Yeah, I was taken by this opening statement because, again, actually, from what you were just saying, like I'm feeling the tension between this idea of renunciation and the idea of engagement.
Yeah.
And in actual fact, there is no difference. And I think that's the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna keeps saying, why do you tell me to fight and you tell me to renounce? That doesn't make sense.
Wow, yeah.
If I renounce, I'm going to the forest. If I'm fighting, I'm not renouncing.
Yeah.
I'm attached. I must be attached to something. Krishna's like, no, you keep missing the point.
Wow.
The point of sannyas is not to take a danda and leave the battlefield. It's to really be renounced of the fruits.
Yeah.
So when I'm reading this, I'm thinking, when Prabhupada says, the more one makes advancement in devotional service, the more one becomes detached from material opulence and material activity.
Doesn't mean activity stops.
It doesn't mean activity stops.
Yeah.
And often we think, oh, the material world, if I do anything in this material world, that's material activity. But our principle of yukta vairagya is, here we're speaking to you on YouTube, we're using microphones, we're using an iPad, we're wearing clothes, we're in a building that was built outside, we use a car, you traveled here by plane probably.
Yeah.
I mean, all of these things are getting used, but if we're connecting everything, and yoga is that principle of union.
Yeah.
So bhakti means if we're connecting it to Krishna, because Prabhupada was already in a renounced space.
Yeah.
I mean, he was sitting in Radha Damodar. That's what we were meditating on, being here in 26 Second Avenue. Prabhupada, because we were just in Vrindavan.
Oh, wow.
And before that, and then after
that
GEV, where Maharaj has reconstructed that beautiful Radha Damodar setting. But just being in Radha Damodar, which is, where Krishna performed his topmost leelas.
Yeah.
And it's such a sacred and holy place. And Prabhupada left at the ripe old age of 69. I'm thinking, I'm relatively young compared to him. And I can't even imagine at that age just like going across the planet. But he left all that to come here and do what? Manage and start an international society with immense headaches, translate books, start a printing company,
right?
Organize artists, write letters. I mean, he was like managing this huge corporation.
Yeah, totally.
And so he didn't stay renounced. He actually did something for Krishna. So it blows me away that you can read this one way, or you can read it another way. Or, as you said in the very beginning, either you can see the Hari bowl in the mouth, or you can see the cigar in the mouth. How do you see this? Anyway, sorry, that's...
no, it's beautiful.
That's something that comes up for me when I read these. I just always think, it's so easy to... what I would say is misinterpret that.
Yeah. Well, that means my material activity, I'm not going to get into material... Because it says right there, it says, you become detached from material activity. Yeah. It says material opulence and material activity. So material opulence means I become detached. Doesn't matter what my salary is. Doesn't matter like that. That's how you read it from one thing. But actually, give me $20 million. I know what to do. I'm going to buy 2nd Avenue and I'm going to buy that building. You know what I mean? Why not?
Excellent.
Because that's the opulence, but it's not my opulence.
That's
So
right.
you become detached from that material opulence. So
Awesome.
let me use it then.
That's perfect. Yeah. Yeah. So it's so easy to read that, what I would say, misread it.
Yeah.
And think, no, I need to leave my job, I need to leave my house, leave my
Yeah.
family.
Yeah.
You know, we can artificially renounce just in
Yeah.
the name of giving up material things, but, you know, to stay in it
Yeah.
and do it for Krishna,
Yeah.
that's a higher,
That's higher.
higher
It's
renunciation.
higher. And it says it's like that thing where it happens simultaneously. So it's happening at the exact same time. It's not, okay, I'm going to have this realization, then this is going to happen.
Yes.
Or
Nice.
I'm going to do this and then I'll get the realization. It's simultaneously happening at the same time. So it's the depth can be there. So you can do the same job from complete different consciousness. You can do the same. You can receive the same amount of salary or whatever it is, but see it from a different place,
Nice.
depending on our consciousness. That's why we.
Jagiri Darpur, you just made a statement. You're gonna get 20 million.
We gotta get this. Come on, I think it's up to 17 now. It was 20
really?
years
You
ago.
checked? Oh.
Yeah, 20 years ago it was down. It was like 8 or 11 or something. Now it
Yeah.
just keeps going up.
Yeah. I mean, I would love that.
Would it be amazing?
It would be too amazing. Well, because, you know, having come in from London, Sevenbury Place,
Oh
where
my God.
Prabhupada installed Radha Ishwar first, you know, they were
Yeah.
there. For me, getting that property would be like a dream come true.
Yeah.
But this is like almost even more important, although I was in London.
Yes.
But
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is where it all began,
Yeah.
you know. So if anyone out
Yeah.
there has 20
Really?
million and you believe that ISKCON should have 26 2nd Avenue as well as the loft, and you were
Yes,
talking about
the
that.
loft. You need both.
As well as-
and the owner has both. So.
Yeah, so as well as, then please get in touch with us. Jagiri Darpur is ready to take that mission on and make it
Phones
happen
are
for you.
open. Here we go.
Phones are open, yeah. We're starting the diamond. Okay, anyway, we're going to finish now. We've gone well over time, but hopefully you were all enthralled. It's so wonderful spending time with you, Jagiri Darpur. I just feel, so much kinship. I'm very grateful for the time.
Thank you.
And very thankful.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you all very
Hare
much.
Krishna.
Haribol.